This week on Chicago Beer Pass, Nick and I drink some fresh cans of White Van from Solemn Oath as we go over our initial thoughts and reactions of District Brew Yards. All that and more on this week's episode. Dude, these last 3 weeks of week, what'd you make it to?
Yeah, because, you get a cork locked out, boop, it flies like fucking 10 feet. We're like, yeah, let's do it. The legend, Mr. Pete Crowley. I love Pete Crowley, man.
How's that beer? It's what you think it is.
It'll be like the stuff you hear. You ever go to every time you go to Floyd's, all the music sounds like this. Raw, raw, raw.
Hey, and welcome to Chicago Beer Pass. I'm Brad Chmielewski.
Brad, what's up, man? I'm Nik White.
And we teased the District Brew Yards last week. We went to District Brew Yards, and now we're here to talk about District Brew Yards.
Yeah, man. Chicago's newest brew hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So right at basically Grand and Ashland.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting spot. I actually thought it would be under the viaduct, closer to like Cobra Lounge.
And all
but
rise.
it's on the other side. It's actually closer to Grand. It's actually closer to like like West Town, like Noble Square. It's
right.
more.
It's a block and a half from Ontour.
Yeah. Ontour's like 2-3 blocks away.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to get into that. Just stepping back for one moment, we should talk about what we're drinking.
Right
on. We got some fresh cans of White Van White Ale from Solemn Oath.
Yeah, man. Dreamsicle, pulled from the soul of Belgian tradition. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4.7%, easy, drinkable, 4-pack, 12-ounce cans from Solemn Oath.
Yeah, I made a trip out there over the weekend and had some of their Duality, which is some of their Haze, and then I grabbed some cans of this.
You always get different styles. I appreciate that. From a distance, I thought 4-pack little cans, because usually the 4-packs are in like the 16-ounce joints.
Unless you're Mars. Oh, Mars has the 12-ounce.
Yeah, Mars does it, and now I guess Solemn Oath's doing it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This beer was first kind of released, or I don't know, came across my plate about a year ago at Bangers and Lace. They did like a block party, and this beer was on tap. And it's such a good summer, just crushable beer. It's 4.7%.
It's a summer banger. I like the label too, man. It's like some fluorescent like tulips and lilies. It's like some kind of like weird kind of Hawaiian at night scene, like neon at glow in the dark Hawaiian scene at night.
Yeah, you gotta take your white van down to the beach, right?
Yeah. This works for me, man. This is a good call because it's 72 degrees in the city today. Brad?
Not bad.
We get excited about shit like that around here.
We're going to sip on these, probably finish off this 4-pack as we talk about District Brew Yards.
Yeah, man.
All right, so you said newest brew hall, which need to make that clear. It's not a new brewery.
Correct.
These are old breweries coming
so
together in the mall.
Joining forces in the District Brew Yards. Yeah. So I forget. I don't know how big this place is, but we were saying how like if you if it were any bigger than this, it would like literally feel like a mall. Right. Like,
so
it's got a good size to it.
I think it was 250 people. Can be in there.
Yeah.
190 seated. I think.
Yeah. 190 to 250. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the brew house is actually like it's adjacent to it. It's on the other side. It's on the other side of the check-in stand and the merch tent and the to-go station. So that's what separates those things separate the hall from the brewery. Mm-hmm.
And I say mall because it feels like a food court, not like in a bad way. It's just kind of designed that way, right? Gosh. It's designed where you have the 3 breweries plus our guest tap, basically along the wall, just like you would there's your Panda Express, there's your Taco Bell, there's whatever your other places, right? When you go down to the mall,
or your Fire Cakes, your
you're going to fancy malls,
right? Or your or your Purple Pig, or your what's the other one?
Your Frontera, or your
You're with the Furious Spoon, right? Okay. Yeah, like one of those kind of malls. Yeah.
Damn, what kind of malls are you going?
No, those malls exist, man. Actually, Time Out Chicago said they're putting one in Westfield Market.
Okay.
Like these super fancy fucking chef-driven fucking like calves, and yeah, like you said, the exact same thing you said, just like with all these neighborhood goodies, just all in one joint.
Right. Yeah. And then they're also serving food that's kind of like behind some of the taps.
Yeah, so we were wondering. I'm like, these guys are breweries, and the Burnt City didn't have a tap room, at their production facility before this, but I forgot that there was a kitchen in Lincoln Park.
Right.
When they were like a couple doors down from Delilah. That was always a good 1-2 step because there was bowling at Burnt City. And then, you want to go down for Delilah's for a shot and a whiskey.
Right.
And then come back. That's
and
what I
then
should
you
do.
could always bounce over to Beer Miscuous if you wanted to grab some stuff to take home.
Patty Long's was around the corner. That was a good setup.
It's a good spot, yeah.
Yeah.
But gone.
Oh, but yeah, I forgot. Yeah, then it's gone. But I forgot that they did food. And I guess they're part of this group that, I think New Line Tavern and then maybe like, I want to say Shoes or somebody else. But they have experience with food. And that didn't cross my mind when I saw the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we went on this on the one of the pre-launch days, first on Thursday.
Yeah.
You revisited it. But on the pre-launch day, we basically got free beer. I didn't even get a card. I was just like, hey, can I use someone's card?
Complimentary. Yeah.
Because it's a pour your own thing.
Yeah.
They
Self-serve.
Although they had people at that point kind of helping or guiding you, some of the people who worked for the different breweries that were there from around the bend, Burnt City and Bulldog, and they were kind of showing you and talking about the beer because it was friends, media.
Yeah, like investors, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a series of like soft openings, right? Yeah, and then apparently like there's going to be beer guides at each station, and that held true.
Oh, they will be. Okay.
There will be beer guides at each station, yeah, and each one's I think is a staff of the brewery.
Oh,
one of the 3 breweries.
So when you were there on Friday, were they helping people? Were they telling you about the beer? What was happening?
And then it was open today, so the brewers were there too, and the brewers are kind of just like floating the floor, but then the station guide is just there, to answer questions and to help maybe offer glass recommendations or talk about different styles.
Okay.
They were there to do that. So it kind of, in theory, it works.
There are a bunch of different glass options, right?
Which I'm a big fan of, Yeah, I think there's a Teku glass. There's a stemless wine glass. There's this fancy glass that I don't even know about. It's got the, kind of puckers out at the tip. It looks like a pint. Then it turns into a bulb at the tip, and then it's a sharp edge. Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. I don't know what that's called. They even got that glass.
Yeah.
These glasses are good.
Right. So it's pretty nice. But then you're offering these fancy glasses, but then you're responsible for correctly pouring your beer.
Right.
And this was the first time I've ever gone to a pour your own place. I think we touched on it a little bit on the previous episode. So this was my first experience with it. I still don't really have an opinion on it. I don't necessarily care. I would probably rather have someone pour my beer because I know I'm not going to do it. And I pour beer. I know it's supposed to be there.
You can be someone who loves to drink and pours beer often and still fuck this up. You can be that guy, that woman. It still happens.
My biggest complaint about it, though, is you, as a pour your owner, you are getting screwed on this because you watch people work at bars. They'll pour beers. Oh, there's too much head in there. They'll dump it out. So you get like
I haven't seen like the little bottles with water.
Right.
And
so you'll get a really full glass with no head. Like it's nice. But you don't want to pour that head out when you're paying for the amount that's coming out of the tap, right?
That's interesting. Now that we're talking about it, yeah.
All right. So you're always going to have just... I have never seen an average person pour a beer unless it's like real slow or a stout or something with no head. So you're going to end up with probably more head and not as a nice looking beer that you would get if you were having it poured for you.
I get that lean when I'm pouring. I still get nice carbonation.
Right.
Yeah. But then there's times, to your point, where like, I overshoot it and I don't get enough head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess there's in some ways they're kind of passing that off to you instead of having a staff member because really like at the really good bars they pour it right every time, right? But at some bars, even though the place is good, maybe the staff I see often like doing what you just said, where they pour it too fast. Now it's got to sit for a second, like it's fucking Pilsner or Kel, like it's the slow pour on Guinness, and now they gotta wait, and then they got this little bottle that they gotta squirt because they fucked up the cup, they're overflowing it now.
Right, and you do see people that not some of the best bars. They'll put those glasses right into the taps and things like that.
I don't like that. I don't like that where the tip, the spout is in your cup.
Right, and you don't want to do that because there's germs in there, and especially at a pour your own place where the likelihood you're getting a new glass every time, everyone, I don't know if everyone's doing that. You're supposed to rinse it. They have little rinsers.
They do. Yeah, everyone's not getting new glass. It's likely that everyone's not getting new glasses.
Right. So
I like to hit them all, so I'm gonna get a different glass.
Right.
And yeah, but to your point, maybe there's if that's an issue, then there's probably should be like some quick
sanitizer.
quick visual guide on how what to do and what not to do.
Right, because it's not if you don't know what people got, right? And they're putting those germs once they're in your glass, they're in there, and you put the beer in, and stick that tap head in there. Or
there's fuckboys in every neighborhood, and if you're letting them pour beer, they're probably there.
I know this is probably talking about this way too long because the space is is like amazing. But I know you were saying some people on Twitter, some Cicerone folks, and I was talking to them too about this seems like an odd way for these breweries around the Bend, Burnt City, and Bulldog to showcase their beers when you're responsible for the outcome.
Yeah.
Like the taste is there, but visually, I might pour this one really bad and be like, well, that sucked. I'm not having another one of those beers. I'm going to go try a different one now because I messed this up. So I ruined the experience, but I didn't know I ruined the experience. So
There's some truth in that. And then talking to, I think some of the Burnt City guys, Christian Berdillis, and he was kind of his, I think their response to that was kind of saying, hey, this might be the beginning of beer education for a lot of folks. They're going to figure this out after they leave Burnt City.
Yeah. Does he realize people don't give a fuck? I still drink beer out of the can, out of the bottle.
Yeah.
And I drink a lot of beer. I don't care. You're going to convince some people on Saturday night that they need to properly pour their beer when they're just looking to have a good time.
I guess it really speaks to who's the audience, right?
Right.
And then how much of the experience, what am I trying to say? How much of that experience matters, the proper pour experience, how much of that matters to the guys who are making the beer and the audience that's drinking the beer.
Right.
That's what it calls that into question, right? How much emphasis, who's putting emphasis on it?
Right. And, we said Cicerone people on Twitter and stuff there is a small 1% group of people that notice this, who comment on sometimes glasses have little bubbles on them because there's soap scum or things like that. You don't want that. But most people, they're just looking to get how quickly can I get that booze into me. I'm more
interested. I take more interest into beer when I'm pouring it myself. First time I volunteered at a fest, right?
Yeah.
I fucked up quite a few pours, right?
Sure,
I was more interested in that process, going through it, and I think that's the premise here. Hey, you'll be more interested on this side of the beer experience. You'll be more interested in it after this. I would assume that's
true.
That's what they're that's the goal here. So, it's an interesting approach. Mm-hmm. Interesting approach. I like it because it's it's kind of the missing link. It's only a mile from Ballast Point, right? The Brew Yards. Yeah. And then it's only 3 blocks away from On Tour, right? And Forbidden Roots not too far from there either. So it was a nice little stretch of maybe a quarter mile or so where there was nothing there. So I dig that about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the space is beautiful.
Yeah, the space is killer. They hit a home run on the space. 400-foot home run right there.
Yeah.
It's good.
So each brewery or I don't know, are we calling them breweries? Because they're all different. They're in the same brewery.
It's the Brew Yards.
But.
Yeah, so it's the same brew hall with 3 different breweries. Yeah.
So they each have their own kind of kiosk, basically, where there's 10 taps, and they're spaced enough apart where if at some point one of them explodes and there's a line and people are clamoring, Pipeworks or someone like that style. Yeah. They're far enough that you can kind of work your way to a different one and grab those beers. So they're not you're not always going up to a bar and having to wait. You can be there's too much of a line at these guys. I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah, I like that there's seating at each bar, and then obviously you're going behind the bar portion and you're pouring. And then you're walking back to your seats, which a lot of seats are along the window, which is good. And then it's like a proper beer hall style right in the middle. So I guess it used to be like an old photography studio. So you got those cool, like, the windows that are like, vaulted in the air, like, like a house. I'm using my hands to make a house symbol, but yeah. And then there's some good light coming in from the top. There's good light coming in from the windows. And then I guess the brew house was where the guy like developed photos. So it was all dark on that side when they moved in.
Man, that was someone's photography space.
That's a massive space for like teaching photography.
Yeah.
I guess they were looking at other spaces, like they said Chicago and not Chicago and Western, but Grand and Western. There's a huge liquor store like Armanetti's or whatever on one side, and then the other side I think is like empty.
Yeah.
Much like Chicago and Western is, where Half Acre throws their party, or actually Dark Matter throws their party every year.
Yeah, there's just that lot right there.
There's empty lot, so they were looking at that
to build it out.
Yeah, but then they ended up here.
Okay.
So, which that's cool because like I said, River North, you're connecting River North, you're connecting Westtown, you're connecting folks that slide in from West Loop. Like it all works. Like I was at Kuma's, West Loop, and it's a mile walk.
Yeah.
It's easy money to get to Brew Yards from there. So it's a good connector to those surrounding areas. I dig that.
When you went on Friday, were any of the guest taps for that fourth area pouring at all?
The fourth wall was still empty. It was completely packed. I was thinking, hey, I'm gonna go in the corner. I'm gonna fire up the laptop. I'm gonna get a little work done. Not a chance. Not a chance. This place was packed. It was kind of cool. Yeah. So, but there was so much I didn't try. Like who was it? Around the Bend had a barrel aged beer called Filling Company. And I had no idea it was there on the opening night. Oh yeah. So I tried that, and that ended up being like my jam. It was Four Roses and Wild Turkey barrels. They threw like hazelnut and praline and like spiritized oak spirals. I'm like, huh?
Interesting.
I'm like, dude, this is good. It kind of reminded you like one time we made some German chocolate brownies, and it kind of had that aromatic to it. It was really good.
Okay.
Really good.
So since we were there on the Thursday and we didn't have to pay for ourselves, how did the checkout and how did all that work? So when you walk in, you give them a credit card and you get a card?
You walk in and you swipe right away, and then they give you your card back. And then you take their card, right, the Brew Yards card, and then you party on. So first thing I did was like, let me get some food because when I sit down, I just want to make it about beer. I got the food, I got a beer, and then I went and got my seat.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see the prices for the food, like, at the beginning of the line, right? And then it's kind of like, cafe style and then, then you get to a register and then boom, you give your card.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And then you do the same thing for your beer. Yeah.
Well, you don't give a card. You put a card.
Oh, yes. You don't give a card for the beer, for the beer before you pour. You place it in front of the tap, and then it lights up, and then you leave it there, and then you pour your tap. And then it gives you a running tab of what
you can see the amount the liquid's coming out of.
You can see the price per ounce, and you can see your tab for the evening and your name.
Okay.
In case you forget that.
So you have some dude next to you be like, "Whoa, you've been here for a while, huh?"
This dude is $60 right now. Yeah. So that's cool. I didn't really, it's per ounce, on the output. So yeah, you're really not paying attention. And then at the food portion, you're not really paying attention at all. They do a good. You're not really paying attention at all till you leave.
Yeah. It'd be fun. This is probably down the line, but if they had something like the CTA card where you didn't even have to check in, you just already have your Brew Yards card, and you could just like pop in, be like, grab a beer, just leave, and it's charging to you.
Yeah. When you're like a gold member.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I got places to go, man.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to grab my beer, swipe, I'm out.
Yeah, and it was cool, like because you return your card at the end, and then it's like that's it, you're done.
Okay.
Like, oh, right on, cool. Then
and then if you wanted to buy something, they would probably scan that and just add that to that same card, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
Because there's the to-go area is huge. That's like 5 or 6 coolers.
Yeah, 5 or 6 coolers, and then there's like a gift shop too. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff you can go with.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job on this space, man.
Oh yeah.
When I went back the second time, I really dug some of the Bulldog stuff, like the tropical pale ale was my jam.
Is that the CeeLo?
Yeah, CeeLo. So CeeLo because it's got like all the sea hops in it, and and then that milk thing from that it's not even a milk style, it's like a barrel aged style from around the bend. I dug that, and I leaned heavy on that steel drum, that rum barrel aged barley wine from Burnt City.
Okay.
Leaned on that pretty good. Yeah.
Nice.
So
It's
cheers to them, man. I had a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Bulldog said, what, in the 3 months so far, they brewed more beer, or they have more beer than they brewed all of last year, right? Something like that. I forget how he worded it.
Yeah, so they were like, because they were brewing. So Around the Bend was brewing with Burnt City at the old location in Pullman, but Bulldog, they came from Lake Effect. They were brewing at Lake Effect. So this is probably the most volume they've ever been able to put. Lake Effect has like rolling fermenters, right, that they got from Greenbush.
Okay.
Like, it's a very small operation. I think they got a hand, when they mash in, they got the mash paddle. They're standing over it, turning it, like very romantic. Fucking,
Okay.
Like, it's a very small setup, like, 6 barrels or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely handcrafted.
So yeah, man. A lot of folks were there the night that we went. I just wanted to shout out some of these breweries that I saw in the building, man. Brewers from Horse Thief Hollow, Unani, Illuminated, Moore, Metropolitan, Goose Island, Forbidden Root, and On Tour. Mm-hmm. We're all in the building for the soft launch on Thursday when we went.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Like, everyone came out to just, to party with these guys.
Yeah, I even
So I was
saw,
excited for that.
a couple bloggers, Instagram people.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the Hop Review. They were there.
Hop Review was there. The beer girl.
Oh, the beer girl. What's her name? She's got the redhead. I
Yeah.
can't think of her name.
Totally blanking.
She's got a huge following, too.
And then another guy hit us up on Instagram.
Beer girl.
He has a podcast. I like blank.
I'm blanking on her name. She's nice, too.
Yeah,
I forget her name.
nice,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't know. Yeah. I was going to just say something that's not her.
Not her. It's not going to be whatever we say. It's probably not
Whatever
right.
we say is not her. She smiles in every pic and she's redhead.
Yeah. And then another guy hit us up on Instagram. Wants to come on the show. He's got a podcast too, so he said he was there. So, yeah, it seemed like everyone was making out for this, and like you said, it was busy on Friday.
I think it's a better option than going to Ballast Point, where Ballast Point has 100 fucking taps and no guests. That's bullshit.
Right.
In West Loop, of all places, like the hottest neighborhood.
You've been ragging on Ballast Point.
I hate to say the hottest neighborhood, but it's ground zero for like restaurants as far as neighborhoods go.
Yeah.
And here you come from the West Coast with no fucking guest drafts in the middle of the country. Like, what are you doing?
The no guest draft thing, whatever, but you gotta get a cider on there, right? Like, at least get a guest cider, or you fools brew your own cider.
Right. I mean, so they got like a super small brewery, so a lot of their stuff comes from their like Virginia facility, right? So they don't even brew a lot of that stuff there. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at places that have like a huge number of taps, this place this Brew Yards automatically wins over a place like Ballast Point.
Right.
And even on a Friday night when we were hanging out there, they're like, well, man, I'm feeling good, but what do I do now? It's like, well, what does Goose have on tap? And it's like, oh, unless you're willing to drop, $50 on like a bottle of 2016 prop, or $40 on some Madame Rose, their standard offerings, I don't know. Are they bringing you joy? Like, no. So, so it kind of trumps that option in a lot of ways.
True.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of good things about this space. So, so they talked about they're going to have some coffee and maybe do some patio action this summer.
Oh,
maybe
that'd be
open
fun.
at like 11 a.m. and just rip espressos, shots, and, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then, the guest taps, they'll probably have cider. They'll have some other people on, collaborations. There's fest planned already, right?
Yeah, man. So like they're huge nerds. So they've got like there's this Norwegian yeast strain that kind of operates at 70 degrees, and there's going to be a festival of, I think, Kvek or something. I'm probably saying it wrong, but anyway, it's a particular strain from Omega Yeast Labs, and they're going to have a festival of these Norwegian yeast beers. And that's going to occupy the fourth wall sometime in October. That'll be the first party there. Crazy. And they're talking about having ciders on that wall, too. Maybe some guest drafts, maybe from... Because, a lot of people don't know that they brew for Mars, they brew for Hot Butcher, and they have, like Harry Carey's beer and Murphy's Bleachers. And so this idea, like Atlas had all this stuff going on at the other location. So you'll see those beers on draft. And then anyone they invite to come brew, they'll have their beers on draft as a showcase. And they want to put everything in cans. Yeah. Everything gets the same 16-ounce can treatment.
Nice.
So that's cool.
And then I'm sure they're going to have some Chicago or Illinois craft beer events. We're going to try to get over there and do a podcast with everyone beforehand.
We might set the record. I think the Lost Boys and Tracy and Doug Hurst is the record because I think we were like 8 deep.
I know. How many? We're gonna need like more. We're gonna need more microphones. So look for that, as we probably will find out more about like the brewing process, what's happening, recipe development, all that kind of stuff.
Because we left, like we talked in the pre-show, like we left thinking, man, this is cool. Congrats to those guys. We actually used to record around the corner at Bomb Camp.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of reminiscing going on. Me and Brad talked a lot at this thing. But then we were left with so many questions. Like, so in the pre-show, we were asking each other all these questions, and he's looking at me, I'm looking at him, I'm like, I don't fucking know. So, and a lot of it is around, like, you know, how 3 breweries operate in the same space. So, yeah, that'd be cool, man.
It's gotta be so many ingredients to pick up. Like,
how does it all work, man?
I guess someone like Great Central, like contract brewing for all those breweries, they gotta have the ingredient space has to be massive, right?
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
So, that's cool, man.
So we did that this week. You did it twice.
We did the thing.
We did a thing. Did you make it out to anything else, or was that it? Yeah.
Shout out to On Tour, man.
Oh,
you know, because I'm talking to you know, friends of the pod, the Forbidden Root guys, because we did the show there, and they're like, yeah, man, we were at On Tour, man. It's like 3 blocks away, man. Because you know, one of the guys at Forbidden Root used to run Moxie, Madhouse Brewery, and that was the brewery that it was short lived. But it was like around the corner from Fobab, so in between sessions, everybody partied at Moxie.
Right.
So
that was a Cajun food?
Yeah, they had the fucking... Yeah, that's what we talked about. We were like, dude, you had a lot of gastras, a lot of whiskey, and that fucking Cajun food. I'm like, I don't know why. You know, it was perfect for Fobab, because Fobab has no food. Sorry.
You know, they got microwave pizza pockets.
I mean, you know, they got hot pockets. Man, we ain't never getting into Fobab. Oh, but I went to On Tour, man. Shout out to On Tour. Your 2017 Great American Beer Fest Very Small Brewery of the Year.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, so, you know, they had Sputnik coffee for sale. I was out of coffee at home, so I was excited. They had fresh coffee there. And then coffee in the bean form
cool.
to go for sale. Sputnik coffee is on 51st and Damon, so they're down there by the plant.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know Sputnik.
Same. I didn't know anything about them. Oh, but I went for this barley wine, man. It's called So Many Roads. It's a barrel-aged barley wine, Buffalo Trace barrels for a year. Fucking stellar. They're hitting a lot of marks, man. They hit, you know, there's a Doppelbock. When I think On Tour, I just think safe, approachable beers, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking on where to go, and I'm like, dude, On Tour's got like a fucking Doppelbock. They got this barrel-aged. I'm like, barley wine? I'm like, let's go. They got an IPA. I'm like, let's go.
Nice.
Yeah. Huge ceilings. I'm a big fan of those. And it's like On Tour, kind of like I think they're like a Grateful Dead inspired brewery, right? I think so, man. Even their logo, like on the jacket, kind of even the hop, the way it's extended, it kind of reminds you of the it's a hop that kind of mimics the Grateful Dead lightning bolt. I'm using my hands again. I think I'm a fucking weatherman. I keep using my hands.
I don't know.
On an audio show.
I don't know that much about the Grateful Dead, so I never thought about that. But
yeah, and then
On Tour, kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
we gotta get over there and find out.
Man, everything they make is good that I've had. And then we were at Kinsey on the Rocks is a bar in this Jewel that's over there by like Des Plaines, like a couple blocks from Grand and Halsted, Milwaukee.
Okay.
There's a guy was in there, and my buddy was wearing a Grateful Dead zip up, and that's how this conversation started. Because he's like, "Do you work for On Tour?" He's like, "Nah, man, this is a Dead hoodie, but it looked just like On Tour's hoodie."
Oh.
Yeah, and that's where that came from.
Interesting.
Oh, but yeah, man, cheers to them, man. You know, and one note about them, man. If you in 2017 at Great American Beer Fest, man, they took a gold for their Maibach, and then they took a silver for their Doppelbock, the Spectator. Had they taken a gold for Doppelbock and Maibach, they would have won Small Brewery of the Year and Brewery of the Year.
Whoa.
That was the rumor in the hall. Yeah, Melvin Brewing out of Alpine, Wisconsin, ended up being Brewer of the Year.
Okay.
So they were really close, and they were only in business for like 9 months. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah. So shout out to them, man. I think when you're in the brewing district, you know, with like Goose and All Rise and Great Central.
Right, and Finch.
And Finch.
Finch is like the stepchild of that.
A Taco Cat, man. Oh, but if you're at Goose Island, like I never make it to On Tour. So
Okay.
that was another advantage of the Brew Yards. It's like boom, it's like literally straight line, 2 blocks, boom, you're there.
Right. I like hitting up On Tour in the summer because they usually have the garage door open. It's an easy bike ride for me, and just go in and basically they have a lot of like light beers, like a Pilsner or a Kolsch is on. And they're really good for summer beers. But nice. So yeah, go On Tour, District Brew Yards, hit up Solemn Oath. A pretty solid little weekend for us there.
Right on, man.
All right. So what do we got? What do we got coming up this week? What's on the calendar?
Oh man, one more thing, man.
Oh.
Shout out to Tinley Park, Illinois. You've been out there a few times. I went to the Tinley Park Brewing Vine.
Okay.
I went out there, man. Oh, dude, it's like 50 breweries and like 14 wineries.
Damn.
Yeah, at the Tinley Park Convention Center. Yeah, so I went out there. That's a proper party right there. But
Okay.
Yeah, like it was a little, they were turned. It was like because I grew up out there.
Yeah.
I grew up in the town next to it, and then so when I was a kid, in Tinley Park, always had the arcade, Odyssey Fun World, this huge arcade, and then they also had the World Music Theater. It's called something else now. Oh, but when I was a kid, I would go to Tinley Park all the time, because I saw Janet Jackson there as a kid. Me and my mom saw Lionel Richie there.
Okay.
Like it was always like cooler than this little town that I stayed in next to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I've always dug Tinley Park, man. Oh, but then, dude, they partied their ass off at this fucking Tinley Park Brewing Vine. Yeah. I was talking to a guy, and he's kind of like, look around, man. Like, there's more women than dudes at this festival. And I'm like, dude, I think he's right, man. Yeah, it was cool. A lot of the wine folks all brought like flavored wines, which was kind of interesting. Like when you see like the shift in beer, like a lot of stouts are like dessert stouts, like pastry stouts. Mm-hmm. A lot of these wines are like, oh, we're putting adjuncts in the wines. We're putting like really sweet cranberries in the wines. And,
Interesting.
Yeah, and then like the only crew that didn't do that was Cooper's Hawk.
Mm-hmm. And they're kind of like classic.
They're classics. Like, hey man, we got Prosecco. We got the Meritage. Like, we're not fucking around with these dessert wines.
Right. Yeah.
But it was interesting to see different flavors being added to wines as like a theme for like quite a few wineries that we saw there. Yeah.
Nice.
So cheers to those guys, man. Oh, Tinley Park, Illinois, man. Business Week voted them the best place to raise a family in America back in 2017.
2017. Okay.
Yeah. So I had a great time there.
Nice.
Just want to shout them out and the Tinley Park Chamber of Commerce.
I want to head out there on Friday because Soundgrowler is releasing a beer. 420 is this coming weekend, so right. 419 is the day before 420. It's also Easter Sunday. Go for it, yeah. And they have a beer called He Has Resin.
He Has Resin.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
So I really want to get out there and hit that up, but yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. But.
Yeah, man. As an adult, they have the arcade and the music hall's cool, but they now have 3 breweries, in most right. towns.
Soundgrowler, 350, and why am I?
Tribes.
No, and
there's another one.
Yeah.
Well, you're thinking of the bar, Open Bottle.
Nope.
You're thinking of another brewery, Soundgrowler.
Hailstorm.
Oh, Hailstorm. Soundgrowler, Hailstorm.
Hailstorm's like one of the favorites, and we forgot him.
Yeah. Hailstorm, Soundgrowler, Tribes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they got 3 breweries out there. When you leave Tinley Park, there's a sign that says, like, you're now leaving beer country, or so, like, please come again kind of thing. I think of all the suburbs surrounding Tinley, and Tinley's the one, man.
So
they get down on Tinley.
If I roll out there Friday or not will be the question. It's a hike.
Oh, it's 30 miles from downtown.
Right,
You're
but
out there.
It's not an easy drive. It's like traffic drive. Like it's not 30 easy miles. It's
I worked for this.
This is uphill both ways, kind of 30 miles.
I'm gonna hang out and hit all the things, man. I'm not going back anytime soon.
Nice. All right. So that bottle release is happening. 420 is happening. So that means like I think there's an event at Metro.
Yeah, Metro's what's Metro doing, man?
They got their 420 party.
They're getting their 420 on at fucking Metro, man.
Yeah. A handful of other breweries have 420 releases.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. At that party, the beer that was the talk of the fest was probably the 420 beer from Sweetwater. Sweetwater was there.
Okay.
And it was called like Mango Kush.
Mango Kush. That sounds pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Half Acre also releasing their 4-pack this weekend. Did you see these? The decades? Yeah. This weekend, 4/19, they have a 4-pack of Daisy Cutter coming out with Daisy Cutter, Double Daisy Cutter, Fully Saturated Galactic Double Gaze Daisy Cutter, and Quad Cutter.
Quad Cutter?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
So that's also Friday. 10 years of Daisy Cutter.
That's impressive. It's we might have talked about it last week, man. It's got to be on the short list. It's probably one of the 5 best beers that ever come out of this town. You might even go 3.
Yeah, maybe. It's gonna be a Half Acre and Soundgrowler kind of Friday. Man. Yikes.
Yeah, because it's kind of the beer that kind of put Half Acre on the map. And then it ushered in the tallboy can revolution, or really just cans period in Chicago, right? Like no one else was really putting beer in cans. Revolution out the gate was a can brewery, but Half Acre was out before that.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a seminal moment in this town. That beer, Daisy Cutter. Yeah.
So yeah, you got can releases, 420 events. I don't think any brewery's doing an Easter event, but that's happening this weekend.
Right on.
Anything else happening?
No, man. But a couple on sale announcements happened this week. Chicago Beer Classic
At Soldier Field.
That's on May 4th. Tickets are on sale now for that. That's the only one where you can get on the field.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty cool.
I really dig that one. Yeah, it's in May. And drinking beer on Soldier Field is worth it. It's totally worth it. And then Ailman. Ailman has a Beefsteak 3. Those tickets are going on sale. Okay. So Ailman's the crew that won Iron Brew. So they were an underground crew that went pro, and they won this contest where their first beer out the gate was a collaboration with Stone.
Right.
Right.
Haven't we had some of their? Don't they have like an orange one and a green one?
Yeah, we've had them on tap.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can picture it, but I don't know.
Yeah, we went to. I went to this. I actually went to this event. I think I went to the first one. So they're hiding in plain sight. They're right in Avondale. I think 3304 North Knox. Right. Oh, but Beefsteak actually refers to the kind of party where it's it's basically a grilling event, but there's no plates, no napkins, no utensils. Right. That's what a beefsteak event is.
Okay.
Yeah. This time around they'll have cigars. They'll have cocktails from Maplewood, and then Glassworks Coffee is going to be providing the uppers at that event. That's a party that's going to be on April 28th. So what's that in a couple weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a $75 ticket. That's the kind of party that's kind of off the beaten path, right? It's a beer and food event.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a grill session. It's a hang at a brewery that's kind of like a nondescript building. It's kind of it's how beer events used to be.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
So it's for folks like that if you don't want to go to some fancy ass fucking hall or some big party down on the lake. If you want to do something the way it used to be,
you got that.
So that's a good hang. I enjoyed that party when I went.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's all I got, man.
Cool. Then before we get out of here, a little bit of beer news. What do we got?
A little bit, man. This involves Illinois, man. Bill number 596 introduces the use of growlers. 32, 64, and 128 growlers. 120-ounce growlers? That's a thing? 128 ounces? Oh, basically growlers at on-premise retail licensed locations. So that means you can fill a growler at a supermarket or a bar.
Bar, okay.
Yeah. So the Illinois state legislature has introduced that bill.
This will pass because no one wants a growler anymore.
I wonder if we're too late on this.
Yeah.
Even the
supermarket's good, but
supermarket would be good, and then some of these remote locations would be good. Like if you're on the fringes of the Chicagoland, right?
Right.
But then even back to the brew yards. Brew yards, I don't think they have growlers. They just got 16-ounce everything.
Right.
16-ounce 4-pack everything, or crowlers at on tour. There's a lot of crowler machines out here. Those at 32-ounce cans.
Look, I just have a cabinet full of growlers that I just don't know what to do with. I haven't filled up in a long time.
I've been saying that, I got a handful of them. Every time I see one, I'm like, I'm gonna buy flowers for this thing and put it in the window.
Yeah, or I'm gonna buy beer for this thing. Treat it right.
I never do. I never do either with the glass crowler. I wonder if we just missed a boat. And then 32-ounce joints, they probably stay fresher longer. You would think a 32-ounce sealed can. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they do.
Yeah.
So you're basically filling up your growler to drink that night.
Yeah, or like a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like crowler. Crowler's easy to carry when you got to go across. When you got
So this will probably pass.
Yeah.
Cool, but I don't know. Maybe a little late, but that's always a nice option, right?
Sounds like Illinois, right? Yeah, that's cool. A little late.
A little late, but all right. Awesome. All right, we should get out of here. 40 minutes on District Brew Yards.
Man, we got to yapping about that Brew Yards, man.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it again.
417 North Ashland.
Not Halstead.
Not Halstead. Yeah, thank you, Crazy Ass Jose on our Facebook page.
All right. Well, Nick, where can people find you? Get in touch when we're not here.
Right on, man. I'm on Twitter at Nicosio.
And I'm on Twitter at BRAD, Chicago Beer Pass, Twitter, Chicago Beer Pass. Instagram, we're always posting lots of pictures there, stories. Zoller was blowing it up this weekend in his
he was getting busy.
Stevens Point.
Oh yeah,
tour.
he did the rounds, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, be sure to check out those beer Instagram stories. Always fun. And then website chicagobeerpass.com. Everything's posted there. Links to iTunes, Stitcher, the YouTube version as well. Check out the YouTube channel. We got a lot of beer reviews we've been posting up there. Some Cinderlands and some Irish beers, and I know we got some Batch 500 coming up. So yeah. Ooh. Take care.
Cheers.